Check out this Neville Goddard quote. It's your own wonderful human imagination. That is God. So he says in the lecture, Feel After Him, which is in my video history. Go down and look for it. I have two versions of it. One with and one without a background music track. I find the background music track one soothing, but some people don't like it, so I have both versions. I have several videos that are marked as no music. Anyway, back to this quote. It's your own wonderful human imagination. That is God. This stuff, as he says in the Feel After Him lecture, is a shock to many people when they first hear it. You know, they've been taught from the time they were little that there is an external God. God is out there somewhere. You're to worship God. You're to worship and keep this God happy, or else you will end up in a lake of fire when you die. This is all bull, right? It's garbage. I don't know, bollocks, as the British say. It never quite made sense to me, you know. We create everything we experience, right? We create all of these things like hauntings and demonic possessions and all this stuff. We're creating this stuff because this is what we've been taught is real. A lot of this stuff came into being in the Middle Ages of the Catholic Christian Church, right? This is how they kept people in line. And everything was hell, hellfire, people are bad, sex is bad, enjoying yourself is bad. And, you know, the whole 7 deadly sins and, you know, the 7 layers of hell. You know, was that Voltaire? So all of this stuff came into being in Europe, a lot of it. Now, they did mention fallen angels and all that stuff in the Bible, but that stuff is symbolic. Okay, that stuff is symbolic, and it's not meant to be taken literally. Now, so it comes as a shock to most people that stuff isn't true. Now, what about Jesus? Let's talk about Jesus for a second, okay? I'm not saying that there wasn't a historical Jesus. There are some writings that Jesus, the man, existed, all right? Maybe he was very gifted as far as all of this stuff is concerned, and he kind of knew what was going on and was trying to tell people about it. And they twisted it into a religion, okay? Now, hear me out. The whole Messiah story has been passed down from civilization to civilization. This whole virgin birth, you know, had a ministry for X amount of years before they were betrayed, before they were tortured, put to death, and then rose from the dead. This exact sequence of events is told and retold in earlier stories from earlier civilizations. It's nothing new. They merely took the same story and put it on top of Jesus Christ of that time and created a religion out of it. Now, I'm not saying Christianity is bad. I come from a Western civilization. I think that a lot of good things, but there's also a lot of bad things. But anyway, the point here is not to judge a religion one way or the other, to judge any of the religions, but to say that it's a shock when you first hear it. But when you really think about it, it makes sense. All this stuff makes sense. The Bible is symbolic. These religious texts are symbolic, right? They mean something else. They're all works about imagination. And that there is no external God to placate and to worship. God is in you. You're God. I'm God. You're God. We're all God. We're all splinters of God, right? There is no external God. God is your own wonderful human imagination. That is God, okay? So this comes as a shock to a lot of people. There may be some people who come across this material, who hear this material right now, and will be shocked by it. They'll say, "Oh, that's sacrilege. You're going to hell. And they'll pull out all these Bible verses that they were taught meant something else from what they really mean. All right? Put it to the test. As Neville says, put Paul to the test. It costs you nothing. You can test all this stuff out. It really works. It's real. It's not some devil that's fooling you. You can fool yourself all day long with this stuff. But when you really think about it, it doesn't make any sense from that perspective, from the perspective of the traditional religious perspective. That stuff doesn't make sense. What is there, some alternate universe where God sits on a throne and he's got legions of angels, and it just so happens that the structure of this otherworldly society mirrors that of the Middle Ages or earlier than that, of early civilizations where they had a king and they had armies and all of that stuff. Anybody ever think about that? Because I thought about that a long time and it made no sense to me. I'm like, this stuff makes no sense. How can this be real? This just can't be real. This is silly. And then you look at, you look at the stars and the galaxies and the universe, and you're like, this is so much bigger than Earth. Was the same thing mirrored on countless planets out there? But then, you get the literalist religious people who say, oh, there's a firmament of water above the Earth. It's ridiculous. They try to take everything literally, and that's the only way they can hold together that ridiculous notion is by taking things literally and throwing their logic completely out the window, throwing their intelligence completely out the window, because it's safe and it's easy. And it just, they can go to bed at night feeling like they're saved, or something like that. So I'm here to say, back up Neville, it's your own wonderful human imagination. That is God. You can put this stuff to the test. You put it to the test by imagining. Imagining creates reality, right? You do this stuff. You think of the end, the end result of what you want. You live from the end, and you watch it come true. And you can prove it to yourself, as Neville says. He's proved it to himself numberless times in his however many years that he was doing it. He had other people prove it to themselves, who listened to his lectures and put it to the test and found out, oh man, it's true. This stuff is actually true. We've been fooling ourselves all this time. Now, I guess there must be a reason for it, Other teachers in this area have surmised it's a human game. We're infinite beings, and it's like a game. How does an infinite being really stretch itself when it's got everything at its fingertips? It limits itself into the human form, into this universe, this physical universe, and learns to do without, right? Creates from a point of not being able to just snap the fingers and have something appear in front of you. Have to work for things and feel physical pain or whatever. And all these experiences get funneled back to the greater God consciousness. I mean, there's a lot of thought has gone into this stuff. You don't really have to concern yourself with that if you don't want to. I mean, all you really need to know is that God is your own wonderful human imagination, and you can put it to the test. Now, there's a lot of other lectures that Neville speaks about Bible verses. He goes into that stuff. Some people may find it dry, and it doesn't suit their immediate purposes, so they kind of don't want to pay much attention to that. They'd rather pay more attention to the actual nuts and bolts of how do I make my imagination create what I want in my life, so that I can enjoy my life more. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, there are other lectures. Look through my lectures. There are some where he talks about evil. He talks about Jesus, who is Jesus, things like that. I have a lot of those lectures in there. And I plan on putting more when I get around to it. I have to put I have to clean up the audio track and put it in there, create the big thumbnail graphic to make it look interesting, and render all of that in a video editing thing. So So, anyway, I can't believe that happened. My phone went off. I don't know if you saw that. So, that's that. So, where am I going with this? That's really it. That's what I kind of wanted to say. And hopefully this recorded. So, I'll see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe. And check out all my other videos. Thank you.